It was a quiet afternoon on a remote farm, the kind of place where time slows down and life feels simple. But that peace was shattered when a gang of bikers rolled onto the property, their intentions anything but friendly. They thought they found an easy target in the farmer, an older man who seemed too outmatched to resist their intimidation. What they didn't know was that this wasn't just any farmer. Beneath the weathered hat and work-worn hands was a retired Navy SEAL with years of elite training and a sharp mind still ready for action. As the bikers tried to assert their dominance, they had no idea they were about to awaken a storm they couldn't handle. What happened next was nothing short of extraordinary, a clash of arrogance versus skill, and the outcome might surprise you. Stay tuned to see how this unexpected encounter unfolded. The gang had been causing trouble for weeks, rowing into small towns, intimidating locals, and taking whatever they wanted without fear of consequences. They thrived on fear, and to them, this farm was just another stop on their path of destruction. As they revved their engines and shouted threats, the farmer stood silently on his porch, his calm demeanor unnerving the bikers more than they cared to admit. The man's eyes were steady, scanning the group like he was sizing them up. He didn't reach for a phone or call for help. He didn't need to. Years of rigorous training and high-stakes missions had taught him one thing: patience. Behind his quiet resolve was a mind already calculating, planning, and staying 3 steps ahead. The bikers, unaware of who they were dealing with, started to spread out across the property, but something about the farmer's unwavering gaze made them hesitate. Little did they know, they'd just stepped into the wrong man's world. As the gang spread out, they began to underestimate the quiet strength of the man before them. They noticed the old truck parked by the barn, the simple tools scattered near the fields, and assumed they were dealing with just another farmer. But what they didn't notice were the subtle signs, the precision in how everything on the farm was arranged, the faint scars on his hands, or the way he stood with perfect balance, like someone who one of the bikers, a tall tattooed man with a chain draped across his shoulder, walked up to the farmer, smirking. "This place looks like it could use some excitement," he sneered, flipping the chain in his hand. His voice carried over the rumble of the other bikes, but the farmer didn't flinch. Instead, he took a single step forward, his calm gaze steady on the man. From the corner of his eye, the farmer noticed others moving toward the barn, likely looking for valuables. What the bikers didn't realize was that every step they took on this property was one the farmer had already mapped out. His Navy SEAL instincts kicked in, quietly assessing their positions, escape routes, and potential threats. He was no stranger to being outnumbered, but he knew the value of timing and control. The gang laughed and taunted, but under the surface, unease began to grow. Something about the farmer's silence felt less like fear and more like confidence, the kind of confidence that comes from a man who knows exactly what he's capable of. The tension thickened as the bikers' taunts grew louder, but the farmer still didn't react. His silence was unnerving, a quiet strength that made the leader of the gang pause. The others, oblivious to the subtle shift in energy, began rifling through the barn, overturning tools and searching for anything worth taking. One of them kicked over a crate, spilling its contents, but what they found wasn't what they'd expected: neatly organized tactical gear, polished and ready for use. "Hey, boss," one of them called out, holding up a vest with a Navy SEAL insignia. "Looks like this guy's got a little history." The laughter that followed was short-lived as the farmer finally spoke, his voice calm but firm. "Put it back," he said, stepping down from the porch. The gang leader smirked, stepping closer, thinking the farmer was bluffing. But then the man's movements changed, fluid, deliberate, and focused. The farmer's eyes scanned the group, noting every weapon, every position. His muscles tensed, ready for action, but still he held back. The gang mistook his restraint for hesitation, unaware they were walking into the storm. As the leader raised his chain, the farmer's expression hardened. In that moment, the bikers began to realize they had underestimated him. The air seemed to shift, the quiet confidence in his stance now undeniable. The tension was electric, and it was clear something was about to happen, something they wouldn't be able to stop. Just as the gang leader swung the chain, a sharp whistle pierced the air, cutting through the tension like a blade. From the shadows near the barn, a sleek German shepherd emerged, its eyes locked on the intruders. The dog moved with precision, its muscular frame a testament to years of disciplined training. The bikers froze, startled by the sudden appearance of this unexpected ally. "You didn't think I'd be out here alone, did you?" the farmer said, his tone still calm, but now carrying an unmistakable edge. The leader hesitated, his grip on the chain tightening, but the dog's low growl made him think twice. Meanwhile, a faint sound came from the distance, a second, more ominous rumble. The bikers turned their heads toward the horizon, where a convoy of vehicles appeared, kicking up dust as they sped toward the farm. They weren't locals, and they certainly weren't friends of the gang. The farmer's lips curled into a subtle smirk. "You see," he said, taking another step forward, "I've got a few old friends who don't take kindly to troublemakers." Panic flickered across the bikers' faces as the convoy drew closer. Suddenly, their numbers didn't seem so intimidating. The gang leader barked orders for his men to regroup, but the sense of control they'd come with was quickly slipping away. The farmer hadn't just been waiting for the right moment, he'd been setting a trap. And now the walls were closing in. The gang scrambled to regroup as the convoy rode closer, headlights cutting through the dust. The farmer stayed still, his sharp eyes never leaving the leader. The German shepherd stood by his side, poised and ready. As the vehicles screeched to a stop, men stepped out, former Navy SEALs, each carrying an air of quiet authority. These weren't just any friends, they were the farmer's old team, answering a silent call for backup. The gang's confidence shattered as the SEALs moved with precision, surrounding the bikers. One of them stepped forward, a tall man with a grizzled beard. "You should have picked a different farm," he said, his voice calm but commanding. The gang leader hesitated, weighing his options, but the farmer cut him off. "It's over," he said firmly. "Leave now, or things get worse for you." Reluctantly, the gang began to retreat, but as they mounted their bikes, the leader glared back. "This isn't over," he spat. The farmer smirked. "It is for you," he replied. Just as the gang sped off, the unexpected twist came. One of the SEALs held up a small device. "They left behind more than they realized," he said, revealing the bikers had unknowingly been tracked. The farmer nodded. "They won't be causing trouble for anyone else." As the convoy dispersed and calm returned to the farm, the farmer looked down at his loyal dog. "Just another day," he muttered with a wry smile. As the dust settled and the convoy of SEALs disappeared into the horizon, the farm grew quiet once more. The farmer walked back to the porch, his dog trotting faithfully by his side. He paused to look out over the fields, a sense of calm returning to the land he had worked so hard to protect. Inside the barn, he carefully picked up the crate the bikers had knocked over, placing everything back in its rightful place. It wasn't just about the tools or the gear. It was about maintaining order, a lesson he had carried from his Navy days into every corner of his life. The sun dipped low in the sky as he leaned against the porch railing, reflecting on the day. Trouble had come to his doorstep, but it left with a reminder. Some battles don't require shouting or force, just quiet strength and the right allies.